there. Temps in those upper 50s. Right now, though, those temperatures have rebounded towards the 80-degree point just past 6 o'clock here, sitting at 79 degrees under mostly cloudy to overcast skies around the Big Bend region. We're pretty much seeing that everywhere we look, especially off to our north and west. If we zoom out a little bit more here, you'll see this plume of tropical moisture from Invest 97L, which has been recently designated in the Bay of Campeche in the southwestern Gulf. This is sending plenty of moisture up towards the Gulf Coast, especially off to our west, but will serve to heighten our rain chances as well as ahead of an advancing cold front currently centered over portions of Texas in the next 2 to 3 days or so. As for tomorrow, looking for those temperatures to continue to climb into those lower 80s. Thunderstorm chances begin to build into our picture as the afternoon carries on there. And again, this will continue for the next few days. We're going to keep an eye on those tropics, not expecting any significant threats. We're also going to have a look at this weekend fun-filled lifestyle forecast, including all those homecoming activities. We'll send it to the desk in a minute. FSU weather starts right now.
For tuning in. It's Thursday, but it feels like Friday since FSU students do not have classes tomorrow. I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith.
And I'm student meteorologist Hayden Wilder. Yeah, definitely. It's a good time for FSU. Homecoming week, no school on Friday.
Yeah.
Things are really going great for us.
Unfortunately, some rain tomorrow might dampen a little bit of the activities, mainly the parade that comes down College Street. And, well, you still got some fun activities, though, tomorrow and into the weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We have that circus is in town, and that is inside, so that's always a good place to go to if it starts raining. And then for that parade, hopefully it just stays isolated. Right now, it's not a 7% chance it's raining.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have more on that later on in the show, but we woke up this morning feeling a little warmer than we did the other day, but still not a bad condition to wake up in.
No, absolutely. There's a little bit of a breeze. It felt kind of cool. Definitely you can wear a sweater if you want to feel that fall vibe, but overall pleasant.
Yeah, but then by this afternoon, well, it's back into the low 80s, upper 70s.
Yeah, those clouds finally gave away when that sun came down. You could really start to feel that heat coming in.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how to dress for these kind of days when you wake up and it's kind of cold, and then by the afternoon you get into these like warmer temperatures. So you kind of got to figure out how to dress for that.
Yeah, so the good thing for this weekend, we will have warmer temperatures, so don't worry about the layers, but unfortunately it will be warmer.
Yeah, unfortunately, but we do have FSU weather or FSU football, to look forward to on Saturday. Homecoming game, a lot of celebrations for that as well. So good things to come.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully we pull a win out there.
Yeah, hopefully we beat Syracuse this time. And to tell us more about beating stuff, the Southeast is getting beaten with a little bit of rain, right, Jake?
Exactly, guys. And personally, I don't really mind those high 70s, low 80s that you guys were talking about at the desk, because last time I did this show a few weeks back, we were talking about temps in those upper 90s. So what you're seeing right now is not really too bad, all things considered, especially off to our north and west, where temps are largely in those lower 70s. You see 70 degrees in Jacksonville, or in Jackson, 72 over in Montgomery under bright and sunny skies there, so not even a rain-cooled value. And we're also seeing evidence of this cold front beginning to advance through Texas, even prompting some snowfall in the Texas Panhandle that we'll break down a little bit in more detail. You also see it very well with this dew point contrast here. These dark green colors indicating very moist air ahead of this tropical plume of moisture from Invest 97L. And behind this front, some much drier air starting to settle into regions. Florida, however, still feeling very muggy with those dew points in those lower 70s. You see 71 in Tampa, 72 in Orlando, and 71 degrees in Miami. Of course, even though it's late October, they're used to seeing that down there in the Florida Peninsula, especially with those easterly winds helping to steer in some of that moisture from the Atlantic Ocean. Pretty breezy in portions of eastern Florida here. 13-mile-per-hour winds in Orlando, 11 down in Miami, and 18 miles per hour in Key West. Largely a northeasterly wind pretty much anywhere across the board. You're not really going to see that shift to westerly until you get behind the front in portions of central Texas. And again, that's established right here over the central portion of the state. If you go down Interstate 10, basically right through about Austin, San Antonio, that's where you can see that front. As of now, this low centered right here between about Dallas and Houston over areas like Waco. Plenty of rain along this front as well as to the north and portions of Oklahoma. We also see a stalled out front over southern Florida here that's starting to help steer in a little bit more moisture and bring some rainfall to portions of the peninsula. However, the big area of concern here is this flood watch for much of the state of Mississippi here. You're starting to see this rain funneling in out of the south, and that's associated again with this tropical wave here that's out in the southwestern Gulf in the Bay of Campeche, designated as Invest 97L, worth watching for the potential for tropical development before that front basically eventually eats it, if you want to describe it that way, and kind of erodes the tropical characteristics of this system. But for now, plenty of moisture is indicated by these orange, red, and pink colors that are starting to move into the Gulf Coast states here. So a big rainfall threat regardless of any sort of tropical development that we'll continue to monitor over the next couple of days. This futurecast shows that feature really well. You're starting to see that frontal rain in Texas basically merging with what you're seeing from Invest 97L, and a big swath of rain moving into portions of Louisiana and Mississippi, especially through the day tomorrow. So while it's going to be some welcome drought relief, could be some pretty significant flooding concerns for those areas. So please keep that in mind, especially considering the reduced capacity basically of the soils to hold that moisture when it is abnormally dry in some of those spots. We see that drought monitor, not necessarily too much of a drought concern in parts of Mississippi except for the extreme southwestern portion, but again, any rainfall is helpful pretty much across the entire southeast, especially in Texas and closer to us here in Tallahassee. As for tonight, looking for those temperatures to cool down a little bit as that front continues to march its way to the east in portions like Shreveport, Little Rock, and Tupelo. And as for tomorrow, even some highs in the 50s in those spots, but pretty much the rainfall threat going to be sticking anywhere west of the Apalachicola River, including our neck of the woods right here in Tallahassee. So now let's go back into the Tallahassee area with Evan.
Thank you very much, Jake. It has been a nice, beautiful day out. A little bit of cloud cover really on our radar, but we're not looking too bad, much really at all with our cloud cover here. Nothing too much has been produced rain-wise. I did feel a little bit of drizzle, but so far the drizzle has not lasted very long, hasn't lasted very heavily at all much. It's definitely helped with our monthly average of 3.5 inches compared to the dry month we had last month. So definitely that has helped out. Cloudy conditions right now at 79 degrees and also cloudy skies, hitting a slight breeze at 7 miles per hour on your walk throughout class. So definitely has not been much of heat. Hasn't been it's been very muggy, but it has not been drenching full of sweat on the way to class with those with that 80-degree high. Ground clutter heading around Tallahassee, but hasn't really picked up too much of a drizzle or too much rain in our area. Just lots of cloud cover, really, as you can see, all around our radar. As because of this Invest 97L has really started to reach its outer banks really into our area. That's picking up a front of this cold front that has situated itself right over Dallas, into parts of Oklahoma, and into Missouri. That will slowly start to make our way and really force this Invest, as Jake was saying, really into our area, coming in later into the weekend. So definitely something to look out for there. These two low-pressure systems really driving the weather further down into the southeast, further into this weekend, and definitely looking for those rain chances to, unfortunately, it will help out our drought, definitely, but might dampen some of the conditions with homecoming this weekend. Some of the outer banks, definitely, of those rain clouds have reached our area, especially in areas of Bainbridge, maybe hitting in a little bit of a slight shower, too, especially later tonight. 73 for them, 79 for Tallahassee. Along the coast closer, it is 79 degrees in Apalachicola. Still hitting a little bit of some sunshine in those areas and some peaks. But the moisture has definitely increased from yesterday. 72 down in Perry. If you remember, most of these dew points were down in the 40s and 50s earlier this week. With that tropical system, it has clearly increased our moisture and dampened us a lot. Those winds, especially coming out of the northeast with those slight breezes, really helping us out and helping us chill. I know I always like a slight breeze on a good walk like today, especially when that sun's able to peek through those clouds. But unfortunately tonight, you might want to bring that rain jacket out and that umbrella. Should be nice temperature-wise, hitting around 71 in Monticello and 70 in Thomasville, but definitely rain chances looking to increase throughout the week, especially for this weekend around Saturday and Sunday with 80 and 50% chances of rain. And our highs are unfortunately going to stay around the 80s regardless of that rain coming through with the cold front. But for now, we're going to go to the video with Salone, who's going to give us a look to the Marching Chiefs.
FSU Weather wants to highlight student organizations that give back to the environment in some way with this new segment. On Saturday, I met with Stephen Foster, a senior from Fort Walton Beach, who is an assistant drum major for the Marching Chiefs.
This year, I'm very fortunate to be able to be one of the assistant drum majors for the Marching Chiefs. So as an assistant drum major, our job is to help coordinate the band, specifically keeping them in time, playing music together. When we're in the stands, we make sure we're always playing that war chant, supporting our team.
Later, I asked Stephen how the Marching Chiefs are environmentally conscious.
Oh, so this is an awesome question. One of the biggest things that we've had, and it's an initiative we just started, is going paperless. So we have thousands and thousands of sheets of music that we use every single day throughout the season, and instead we used to just print all those out. So we'd copy them all, we'd print them all, and we would use those for the entire season. And last year we changed this to where instead of having thousands of sheets of paper, we put it all in a Dropbox folder, and from here on out, we just put it in there. You have the music in there, you can pull it up on your phone, and we have nice little e-flips that can go on your horn. And so you can look at your music on your phone, and it's easy to put things in there, take things out, and keep the band constantly on our toes. So it's really great for us, and it saves a few trees as well.
When I asked Steven about what caused the Chiefs to become Twitter viral at the Clemson game 2 weeks ago, he beamed with excitement.
Yeah, so one of our big initiatives that's come up probably in the past 2 or 3 years is we have a 5th-year chief, and she's affectionately known as our trash queen. And she started this push to clean up Doak and to clean up the stands when we leave. And you'll find out that a lot of bands do this, and it's not something that we just did at Clemson, but we make a really big point to clean up after ourselves. And we really appreciate being able to support the Noles, whether that's on the road, here, whether it's football, volleyball, basketball, and we always want to make sure that we're giving back to the people who make that possible. And a simple way for us to do that is just to pick up after ourselves. We try our best to keep the stands cleaner than we found it.
Here are a few ways to stay up to date with the Marching Chiefs, especially for this weekend's homecoming game.
Oh, the best way to stay up to date with the Marching Chiefs is definitely to go look us up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. It's usually under FSU Chiefs. You'll be able to find us really easily. We're constantly posting shows. You can see preview shows. You can see all these things. Keep up with us on practices and our schedule. We do a skull session performance, so that's like a pregame performance outside of our normal pregame. That's in the baseball stadium 2 hours before every home football game. So come check us out. It's definitely a great time. We'd love to see you.
Stay Garnet, Gold, and Green Seminoles. With FSU weather, I'm student meteorologist Sloan Haynes.
What a great video by Sloan and the Marching Chiefs. We're going to take a look at the national
FSU
right
weather.
now. I'm not sure what's going. There we go. Los Angeles is sitting at 94 degrees right now. San Francisco at 85 in Seattle. Cool spot on the West Coast at 62 degrees. There's a front across parts of the Midwest right now. You can see part of the desk. Dylan on his phone right there. Okay, we're going to cut back. Part of the front is moving towards the East Coast. 57 in Dallas, 44 in Kansas City, 49 in Chicago, 64 in Boston, 79 in Tallahassee, and 85 degrees in Miami for your national temperatures. Dew points are all over the place. Much of the nation looking very, very dry right now. 34 degrees in San Fran, 29 in Los Angeles with a 93-degree temperature. So that's a huge contrast right there. They're actually feeling more like their actual temperature, 93 right now. 24 in Billings, 18 degrees in Denver, 65 in Tallahassee, 71 in Miami, the moist spot on the map. Winds are out of the east for the East Coast right now. Winds are out of the north for parts of the Midwest and California, with those Santa Ana winds sparking up some fires across parts of the California state. Upper level water vapor is showing us this huge trough that's really building in towards the Dallas area, nearing El Paso and parts of Oklahoma, bringing in some precipitation of all kinds: snow, sleet, hail, and rain associated with this front that's actually going to be combining with Invest 97L. We'll get into that in a little bit. High pressure dominating the southeast and much of the northeast, with a stationary front right over top of South Florida right now, bringing in some of those winds for Miami, sparking up a few spotted showers in the area. And the next cold front behind this one that's right here is going to be off to the west coast, bringing cooler temperatures towards parts of the Rockies in the next few days. That is going to be tracking eastward within the next day or two, possibly bringing some rain early next week and cooling down our temperatures here in Tallahassee. Here's part of Invest 97L. Starting to see parts of the upper level clouds move into the area. Not too much precipitation associated with it right now. However, parts of Texas is getting some rain right now. Some mixed precipitation just north of Lubbock for the peninsula of Texas, and even some graupel. There's a little bit areas of pink with mixed precipitation, but the heavier stuff is off to the east right now. Some really, really heavy rainfall coming in about 2 to 3 inches right now. That's where all that red is, and the yellow is just sitting there, dropping buckets of rain on parts of Oklahoma and Dallas. Here's another frontal system that's moving through parts of the northeast, bringing some rain towards Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Our drought monitor was updated today. Parts of Dallas still in a drought, getting some relief with that rain coming in right now, and parts of the southeast are still looking very, very dry. We're keeping our fingers crossed here in Tallahassee for rain that is much needed. Even though we've had 3 inches this month, we're still 17 inches behind the average annual rainfall for this time of year. Tonight's forecasts are looking very, very comfortable all across the nation. Miami is that hot spot again at 80 degrees, but the farther north you go, the cooler the temperatures that you get. Tomorrow's forecast looking very, very comfortable, except for parts of the Midwest that are going to get some severe weather with some thunderstorms tomorrow and some heavy precipitation all throughout this area from Dallas all the way to Tallahassee, right up in this area for parts of the weekend with Invest 97L. But for now, we're going to send things over to Hayden with a look at the lifestyle forecast.
Yes, absolutely. So for our lifestyle forecast, looking out your weathercast, you can kind of see we're going to see some low clouds and fog persist throughout the evening. And then in tomorrow, you can kind of see some of these spotted showers. And so this will likely bring some light rain to our area, but not a big deal in our forecast. Like I said, a lot of festivities going on in Tallahassee. Tonight, catch the Halloween Circus, one of our best shows. We're going to have a great forecast out there, 67, a nice temperature, a light northeast breeze. And so it's going to be a really pleasant evening. And if your family's coming up, make sure you bring them out to the circus. You will not regret it. And so if maybe you have you're starting to study for some midterms out in Strozer tonight, expect pleasant conditions against 167. Inside tonight, expect 75. So maybe if you have a light jacket, maybe you can take it off in Strozer. Sometimes get a little bit warm. And then overall, I know it says slight rain, but I do expect mostly clear conditions tonight. So it'll be a nice walk back from your studying. And then for our Friday night, if you're heading out to College Town, it's going to be 70, and there will be a storm chance. However, this will probably be scattered and will hopefully wrap up by the evening. And so it should be a very good forecast for tonight and for tomorrow night. And so make sure you go out there, hear the band, hear the performers. It's going to be a great time. And then for our game, the big event of the weekend, 82, bring a poncho. We do expect some scattered thunderstorms to come in. Hopefully no lightning to stall us. But overall, we've dealt with a lot worse. Compared to that snow in Amarillo, 82 is a beautiful homecoming forecast for football, and hopefully get a Knowles win today. And so for Sunday morning on the drive back, do expect some possible storms to come in, but overall nothing too big. And so our main forecast out into the weekend, 85 Friday, some light storms, but Saturday and Sunday, we do have a greater chance of storms, so just make sure to bring a poncho and be weather aware. All right, now let's bring it out to Parker and Dylan for the desk.
Thank you very much, Hayden. We're going to talk about Invest 97L. We've talked about it a lot, but we're kind of going to break it down a little more of why it's forming and kind of what it's going to do.
Absolutely. So it's forming just north of the Yucatan Peninsula, which is located in Mexico and parts of the southern Gulf. And it's tracking its way northward right now, making a northeast path.
Right. It's kind of an unconventional setup that a lot of meteorologists have talked about. A front interacting with a tropical system is not usually common, and not really common this time of year either. It's late in the season.
Yeah, it's very late in the season. In fact, if this does develop, it's going to be the latest named storm since 1985.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you can even see that most of the convection, or rain, as we call it, is kind of north of the center. So it's not really organized, but it's a lot of rain associated with it.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we saw last week and the week before with Tropical Storm Nestor. You know, the center is very far from most of the deep convection.
Right, exactly. You do expect some tropical storm force or gale force winds behind the front as it interacts with it, and we'll see kind of how a better picture of that tomorrow as the hurricane hunters will fly in, the Air Force will be flying their mission from about 2 to 6 p.m. tomorrow to get a better idea of what this looks like.
Yeah, and you can really see the front in parts of Texas right now, just north of Houston. It's making its way eastward, but as Invest 97 comes up, the front is going to meet it, and it's really going to interact with each other, sort of die out this system.
Right, exactly. If it does form, that they've been saying a lot, it would either be a tropical depression or tropical storm. If even that, if it does form, it only has a 60% chance in 2 and 5 days. So a lot of uncertainty, but not real big impacts other than a bit of rainfall going into this weekend.
Yeah, lots of uncertainty, but we can expect heavy rainfall within parts of the northern Gulf. Like Dylan said, that window for development is closing now. Exactly. It's about 36 hours. So it's not looking likely that anything's really going to develop.
No, but it's still something to be weather aware. We are not done with hurricane season. Just it does in fact end November 31st. So we still have really another month, but you're unlikely to see any strong storms at this time of year.
Yeah, it's actually November 30th. There's only
November.
30 days in November.
I'm sorry. Well, to talk more about Florida, because I don't know things, Florida forecast coming up right now. Well, you do start to see the peak of the front kind of west of Pensacola with 76 there and a bit of cloud cover. The rest of the state of Florida seeing mid to upper 80s the farther you go south. It's not too bad right now in Miami, 85 degrees though. The most uncomfortable places have to be Tampa and Fort Myers at 89. A bit warmer out there for them. And as we go into the dew points, we're still a warm area here in Florida. You see 70s, maybe upper 60s, but again, no relief in sight. No front has really cleared things out, and you don't expect those conditions this time of year. So you do expect these high moisture values to stick around, but you start to see the peak of the next front kind of behind Pensacola as well, 63-degree dew point there. So seeing the relief start to come in, and you see kind of on this map in that flood warning ahead of that frontal system, but you see some increased rain cooling things off, a nice little divide there. And as we zoom into Florida, you do see those afternoon showers kind of coming in from the coast. You have this low pressure system bringing just a bit enhanced moisture across the state, allowing for convection to kind of fire up, and that's how you get those afternoon storms. And as we zoom into South Florida, do see some spotty conditions, only last about an hour at most, moving out quickly, dumping just a bit of rain, but nothing too strong, not even embedded lightning, so these showers aren't too bad. In the northern part of the state, though, you have a bit of clouds and maybe a lighter shower or two, but nothing really intense. And out to Pensacola, staying relatively clear. Cloud cover sticking around, but over onto the western panhandle, you might have a shower or two with those invest system moving some rain over to there. And as we go into the next couple of hours, you do see that invest system move the moisture off into the southeast, but the Florida stays relatively clear, only seeing those poppy showers that they've seen today, continuing into the weekend. Maybe a little bit of the panhandle sees some increased rain from this system, but very unlikely as it kind of trends westward for them. Though any of those spotty showers are good for South Florida, especially the Everglades where they do have that abnormally dry condition. We're starting to get into those wildfire seasons for them, so it's definitely a benefit for them. But for us here in the Panhandle, not going to see as much relief. We might see some showers or two, but we do need that relief here too in the Panhandle. And as we get into tomorrow's forecast, you have those afternoon storms sticking around from Friday to Sunday, staying relatively the same with 87 and 89. Moving up to Tampa, though, staying relatively clear tomorrow, but as we get into Saturday and Sunday, those rain chances increase. Your temperatures drop just a little bit due to that cloud cover. And then going up into Orlando, well, more of the same, sticking around with those afternoon thunderstorms. And into Jacksonville as well, you do see some rain conditions sticking around. Cooler, though, because they're farther north. And going over all the way to Pensacola, you start to see the front really impact with 90% chance of rain tomorrow and Saturday, but then clearing out for Sunday. And as we take a look at tonight's forecast, rain chances are kind of possible as that front makes its way in. And tomorrow, seeing another warm condition day. But now to take a better look at our local area, Sloan, what do you got?
Well, it was a little cloudy today, so we really can't complain about that. Some relief from the heat this evening, but we can expect it to sort of get back into the 80s this weekend, especially for game day. Temperature-wise, we are in about the 70s right now. Mostly cloudy conditions, seeing some sun peek out over Doak, but for the most part, we're going to expect these clouds to linger into the evening hours. A few pop-up showers here and there, but for the most part, we've been fairly dry in the Big Bend. We do have our next rainmaker, as we've been talking about, starting to make its way towards us. We're going to have a trough start to bring this area of low pressure into our region, causing an increase of rain and cloudiness for the weekend, causing the Gulf Coast to be a little bit more moist than the rest of the country, as we saw earlier based on the national dew point map. And for the nation as a whole, we had that front move through the area. Now we have another cold front with rain and precipitation associated moving through the southeast, and we already have some of those flash flood watches in effect for the southeast. For right now in the Big Bend, 73 in Thomasville, 74 in Bainbridge, 77 in Quincy, and then again 78 in Tallahassee. We do have some sun out for the region, so enjoy that as we have those rain chances increasing this weekend. Here's that moisture we've been talking about. We're feeling a little more humid outside, a little sticky outside. 72 at Perry, that's the highest dew point for the Big Bend right now. 63 in Thomasville and 66 in Quincy. If we're taking a look for our tonight forecast, though, 70 for Thomasville. Thunderstorms are in the forecast for tonight, so going to the circus earlier on, as you saw on the lifestyle graphic, might be the best decision for you just to stay dry and you're not out driving when it's dark and raining. 73 degrees for St. Mark's, 72 in Perry, then 74 down there at Apalachicola. If we take a look at our day planner for tomorrow, waking up a little cool, 72 degrees. That's good morning weather, keep the windows open, drive with the car windows down, and there's no school tomorrow, so I might even go for a run tomorrow morning during those nicer conditions. And then we're going to see these clouds start to ramp up around noon, so about 79 degrees at noon. The clouds start to come into the picture, and then by Friday afternoon, we have that early chance of storms. But between 12 and 4, as the storms start to pick up in the area, we're going to have the parade. So if you're going to the parade, it might be a great idea to have that poncho on you. And taking a look at the next 7 days, a lot of rain chances in sight, with 80% our highest on Saturday, staying in the 80s, but then we might have another front move through, causing us to cool off a bit by the middle of next week. 79 on Tuesday, 76 on Wednesday. But then look at Thursday's low, 50 degrees. That's a fall temperature for us here in Tallahassee. But for now, I'm going to pass things off to Parker and Evan for the closing desk.
Thanks, Sloan. That 7-day is looking rather eventful with rain in the forecast for much of the weekend and next week.
Much of the homecoming plans this weekend, I wouldn't say put them on hold. Definitely, it's going to be a fun, great weekend, rain or not.
Yeah.
But definitely plan for that.
Rain or shine, you're going to want to bring that umbrella, maybe a poncho to the game and to the parade tomorrow.
Absolutely, and I know parking is usually somewhat of a concern. It's always a concern with these games, but definitely with that rain, it's going to make that incoming traffic much more heavier than expected.
Yeah, people sort of tend to lose their mind when they drive in the rains here in Florida, especially with all the hills in Tallahassee. But a lot to talk about. Invest 97L going to bring some rain for parts of the northern Gulf and parts of the Midwest, 4 to 5 inches possibly towards the later part of this weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Invest, regardless if it forms or not, should be our next rainmaker coming this weekend. And in fact, maybe even chances tomorrow. Definitely, if we pull up that 7-day, we definitely have a 30% chance of rain in itself for tomorrow. With, I believe it's Pete Davidson coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the powwow. Comedian Pete Davidson's going to be here on campus tomorrow at the Tucker Center. And 80% chance of rain on Saturday with a high of 82. 3:30 kickoff for FSU football.
Yeah.
Hopefully the rain stays out of the forecast.
Yep, hopefully rain, maybe just scraps of, won't be too bad maybe, won't be drizzle, maybe it just won't rain at all, hopefully.
Yeah, it'll definitely be relieving, although we've had games that have been in the feels-like temperature of plus 100, plus 105 even.
Oh yeah.
82 is looking rather
Good.
great. However, the rain is going to probably be an issue. Hopefully it's just a drizzle, no thunderstorms, no lightning at all.
Hopefully those bleachers shouldn't be soaked and absolutely drenching full of rain, collecting up on in the stadium. But for more, you can follow us on Twitter.
And you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU weather.
You can also watch us live right now on YouTube. Look at us now.
At youtube.com/FSU weather. And you can follow us on Instagram at FSU weather. You can go ahead and send in those pictures. Beautiful sunsets. I know last night was gorgeous for a sunset.
We got our alumni show tomorrow. Stay tuned for tomorrow at 6 o'clock for that.
Have a good night, Tallahassee.